2026 is shaping up to be an absolutely massive year for science fiction. From gritty dystopias and emotional space dramas to superhero epics and galaxy-spanning blockbusters, the genre is about to dominate theaters in a huge way. Some of these movies already have sky-high hype, others are quietly building momentum, but all of them show just how limitless sci-fi storytelling can be. So today, we're breaking down the most exciting sci-fi movies releasing in 2026, and why this year could become one of the genre's greatest ever. Let's begin. While those lucky enough to attend the 2025 Fantastic Fest did garner an opportunity to watch a preview screening of sci-fi comedy Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, the movie's full theatrical release is set to take place on February 13, 2026, making it one of the first sci-fi films to release in the year. Based on Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die's trailer and strikingly solid 94% Rotten Tomatoes reviews from those who saw it early, it seems the film will be helping kick off the year in suitably stellar fashion. With a time travel premise that sees an unlucky inhabitant of a dystopian future journey back in time to try and save the world from its fate, recruiting a selection of seemingly random people from an LA diner in the hopes of creating a team that can protect humanity, it's clear Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die will be as entertaining as it is visually striking, making it an early must-watch for 2026. The mystery around Flowervale Street has worked in its favor in some ways when it comes to building hype around it from those who are aware of its existence. However, the relative lack of information we have about the movie does mean the main excitement around the film comes from the names that are currently attached to it, which include J.J. Abrams being one of the film's producers, and Anne Hathaway and Ewan McGregor being some of the main actors involved. Thus far, what's been teased for Flowervale Street seems to promise an exciting story, complete with at least one dinosaur and a street that's being affected by sci-fi phenomena, altering the lives of lead characters the Platt family forever, though more specifics about this installment will seemingly only become clearer closer to its scheduled August 14th release date. Ridley Scott's history in the sci-fi genre is impossible to miss, with the likes of Alien, Blade Runner, and later The Martian cementing his reputation as someone who is able to give futuristic worlds and larger-than-life stories a grounded edge that makes them truly gripping throughout. As such, it's no surprise Scott's next sci-fi film, The Dog Stars, is one many are very excited to see release on March 27th. This is doubly true given the movie is adapting a book of the same name, which promises a suitably soulful and dramatic story of a man, his dog, and the gunman they befriended existing in a post-apocalyptic world, before one radio transmission sends the protagonists on an unexpected mission. With Steven Spielberg being one of the biggest names in the directing sphere still decades into his career, his impending 2026 sci-fi release is naturally one that has a lot of intrigue and excitement around it, particularly since it appears details about the film may be being kept secret for as long as possible, given the name of the movie still isn't known. Though its release is scheduled for only months away on June 12, 2026. Set to feature a range of talented actors including Coleman Domingo, Wyatt Russell, Emily Blunt and Colin Firth, Steven Spielberg's movie is reportedly based on an original idea from the director, and will be the first movie he's directed to hit cinemas since 2022's The Fabelmans. As such, there seems to be plenty of reasons to be excited about the film, even if we know little other than the fact it doesn't seem Steven Spielberg's sci-fi film is set to play in IMAX in 2026. Combining a sci-fi story that is in many ways inherently suited to a big screen adaptation, as is the case for Andy Weir's 2021 book Project Hail Mary, and some talented actors and directors seems a recipe built for success. As such, it's worth noting that Project Hail Mary is directed by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, who may be most recognizable as the directors of the Spider-Verse films, and has Ryan Gosling play the movie's lead character, which all seems to suggest the film could well become one of the bigger movies of 2026 when it releases on March 20th. Project Hail Mary centers around Ryland Grace, a scientist whose primary challenge in the story comes when he finds himself on a space mission with no memory of who he is or what he was striving to do. Grace soon encounters an alien life form who becomes his main companion in this complex set of circumstances, with their dynamic unfolding into a truly emotional story about two very different worlds. The Hunger Games has seen a resurgence in popularity thanks to 2023's The Hunger Games, A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which itself built hype for fellow Hunger Games prequel Hunger Games, Sunrise on the Reaping, a film that is set to release on November 20th, 2026. Sunrise on the Reaping covers the story of Katniss' mentor, Haymitch Abernathy, and what his first Hunger Games was like, with the original books and movies providing some details regarding this matter, but leaving much of the 50th annual Hunger Games otherwise a mystery. Hunger Games: Sunrise on the Reaping's trailer has already demonstrated how the film will balance the action and tragedies that make the series so gripping, while also delving further into the history of both Haymitch himself and the world of Panem, shedding more light on the events of the main timeline. While there have been a fair number of live-action DC movies over the years, the films often veer away from showing the further reaches of the comic universe, instead focusing more squarely on Earth and the events that take place on it. This makes it all the more exciting that Supergirl seems set to do just the opposite with its story, since it looks to adapt the comic run of Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, which takes place almost entirely on a range of different alien planets that are much unlike our own in many ways. Not only does this ensure Supergirl gets a more directly sci-fi-esque story unlike Kal-El's adventures in the DCU's first movie, Superman, it also means the DC Universe's further corners can be fleshed out as early as its second film thanks to Supergirl's June 26, 2026 release date, which has major implications for the wider franchise, too. Sci-Fi's favorite Alien Worm series is set to return once more with the movie reboot's third installment, which is scheduled to debut on December 18, 2026, and take viewers back to the world of Arrakis as Paul Atreides tries to unite its people to fight against the threat of House Harkonnen, who seek to take over the planet and its valuable resources. Now, the first two installments of this series have built up a solid audience for the films and their epic story of how the cosmos are changed by the family of House Atreides forever. It seems the third film has a prime opportunity to delve into some of the biggest events in the book series and introduce some of the bigger moral questions and plot twists that the story has to offer. Thus far, the 2020's Dune series has done a striking job of translating the sprawling sci-fi worlds of the books to life both in its visuals and in the acting of its cast of characters, and it seems things are likely to only continue to amp up in this vital chapter of the story in every regard, painting a decidedly thrilling picture of what's to come for the franchise. Mentioning there's hype for an upcoming Star Wars movie is perhaps as obvious as saying water is wet, even though the decades-old sci-fi world has seen some more divided reception in the past few years, which naturally bodes well for The Mandalorian and Grogu when it releases on May 22, 2026. The Mandalorian and Grogu, focusing on two of the most beloved new characters from the franchise's recent years, should go some way to convince even those who have not been as keen on Star Wars' newer directions to give the film a chance, which suggests the already staggering brand appeal at play here can be capitalized on even further. With the opportunity to be a spacefaring action-packed adventure, a follow-up on the aftermath of some of the biggest events in Star Wars' timeline, and a tale of an unusual found family finding their place in the galaxy, Din Djarin and Grogu's film story should theoretically have a little of something for every kind of Star Wars fan, and then some. The sheer scope and scale teased for Avengers: Doomsday means it's inherently the biggest sci-fi movie of 2026 in terms of hype, even though the MCU has, much like Star Wars, had some more divided reception in recent months and years. The MCU has grown bigger and bigger over the course of its almost two-decade-long run, both in terms of the size of its world and stories, and in terms of its reputation. Doomsday will be the first Avengers movie since the genre-defining success of Avengers: Endgame, which sets a high bar for film in terms of what is possible for it when it releases on December 18, 2026. but also ensures that a monumental amount of people are eagerly awaiting what this next chapter of the Avengers series holds, even if some may have their doubts about what might come next. With this next part of the MCU bringing back several major figures for the franchise, including many big Fox X-Men actors, and of course the return of Robert Downey Jr., this time playing Doctor Doom, the stage is set for a truly colossal story that pays tribute to not just every part of the MCU that came before it, but also to the wider Marvel movie world. Thanks to the franchise's recent sci-fi forays into the concept of the multiverse, 2026 is absolutely stacked with sci-fi, from emotional character studies to massive multiversal wars. Whether you love grounded dystopias, cosmic adventures, or franchise-defining blockbusters, this year has something for everyone. Which sci-fi movie are you most excited for in 2026? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more movie breakdowns and hype rankings. See you in the next video.